Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you might be in the world. My name is Mark McDermott, and I am the CEO of ScreenCloud. Today, it's my great pleasure to be launching our ScreenCloud Dashboards feature. It's been over a year and a half, almost 2 years in the making, so this is a really exciting day for us. Okay, so quickly going through what we're going to be talking about today. There'll be a brief introduction to ScreenCloud for those of you who are not familiar. Then I'm going to talk about the rise of business intelligence dashboards, the problems we face with displaying them securely. And then I'm going to go into a demo of the ScreenCloud Dashboards product. And then finally, I'll talk about company TV, how dashboards fit into the wider picture with screens. Then explain how you can get started with the product, give it a go, try it for yourself. And we'll be moving over to a live Q&A after this with myself and also Michael Martin, who is the Director for Engineering on Apps, the team that has been building this product. So I'm sure you're going to have loads of questions for us. We're going to be using Slido today, so slido.com. If you just search on the hashtag SCDS, you will find where to submit questions. Or if you want to take a moment, just scan that barcode, QR code even, and that will take you through where you can ask questions as we go, and we'll try and address all of those. We're also going to put a link to that in the chat, so hopefully that's given you enough time. All right, let's get on with it. So a quick introduction to ScreenCloud. We are a SaaS platform for digital signage. We started back in 2015, and the company's now grown to over 100 people. We're based all over the world. So we have our US operations in Los Angeles. Our engineering team for apps, as you'll hear from Michael's accent, is based in Belfast. Corporate HQ is in London. And we have our platform engineering team over in Bangkok. So a truly international team. We help businesses manage their screens and their networks of screens. We have over 9,000 customers. Mostly the USA is our big market. And we work with small SMB businesses all the way up to Fortune 500 brands that you know and love. ScreenCloud is in a fortunate position to be very much loved and appreciated by our customers. We have risen to the top of the leaderboards when it comes to Capterra and G2 with lots of great reviews, which we're super grateful for. What you'll see as a common thread in these reviews is everyone talks about how easy we've made ScreenCloud to use. One of the principles of our product is to take complicated procedures, complicated things, and make them simple. So more people can get access to it. It saves you more time. And ultimately, it's just more fun and enjoyable to use, which means you're going to use those screens even more. Okay, let's dive into the problem. So there's a very famous book called by Dale Carnegie called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And in that book, he tells a story of Charles Schwab, a steel magnate, and how he had a problem at one of his mills where the workers there were not meeting their quotas. So he had a brainwave. And the idea was at the end of the day shift, he took a piece of chalk and he drew the number of completed projects on the floor. And that day it was 6. So he drew that big 6 on the floor and left it at that. Then when the night shift came in, they looked at this enormous 6 on the floor and asked what was going on and realized that was what the day shift had achieved. When Charles Schwab came back in the next day, the 6 had been crossed out and a 7 had been put next to it. The day shift then rose to the challenge, and by the next time that number was written down, it had moved up to 10. What Charles Schwab identified was encouragement, not criticism, breeds productivity. And his quote here is very simple. The way to get things done is to stimulate competition, not in a sordid money-getting way, but in a desire to excel. He did that just with visualizing a simple number. Business intelligence matters. 94% of companies say data and analytics are important to their business growth and digital transformation. Specifically, this is about improving efficiency and productivity, achieving faster, more effective decision-making, and driving better financial performance. As a result, business intelligence tools have recently exploded onto the market. So the data visualization market is predicted to have grown from $9 billion in 2019 all the way up to $19 billion by 2027. And obviously that's being fueled by customer demand. We've seen some amazing acquisitions recently. Google acquiring Looker for $2.6 billion in 2019, Salesforce retaliating and buying Tableau for eye-watering $15 billion, and Datadog's gone it alone, and today their market cap on the stock exchange is $30 billion. So there's clearly a lot going on here, and every company is using business intelligence tools, or even a variety of them. But there is a problem. Well, clearly, this is one that we often see, is that we're replacing pieces of paper on a wall or a whiteboard or something like that. And that even if you do have business intelligence tools working, they're not really built to make general access easy. Dashboard data is, for very good reason, locked behind logins in departmental silos, and not everyone has seats to be able to log in and see those dashboards. Market compliance means that those dashboards cannot be published out via public URLs, so you can't browse to it on the internet. This is the keys to the castle. Homemade solutions are expensive and a waste of the IT team's time. And I think every IT team has tried this method. So we often see this, which is a great way of validating dashboards on screens, but mounting an Intel NUC or a Mac Mini onto a TV or behind a TV, and then the IT team remotely desktoping into the device, launching a browser, setting up a dashboard and enabling it on full screen. It kind of works. It's limited because you can't really show anything else. You could scroll through the scripts to scroll through a few tabs potentially, but it's pretty limited. The other issue is that you've got to rinse and repeat that process. Often the dashboard will log you out, or the device will log you out doing a device update or a power cycle. And so actually it's expensive because a NUC or a Mac Mini is really expensive hardware, and it's very hard to scale out because you have to do it one per each screen, and it wastes so much time and therefore money of the IT team having to go in and maintaining all of these things. Some digital signage platforms have tried to crack this problem already, but we've looked at those methods and found that they're really not very secure. So this diagram kind of explains it. You've got your digital signage CMS. The credentials are stored in a database, and then on the screen device, that will then sort of pop up those credentials into a browser, launch the dashboard, and log in. Now, the issue here is that the recording of those credentials and login steps is often done in raw JavaScript, and the transmit steps, it has to transmit those steps to that device. So on the device, it's opening a modified web browser to carry out the login and enter the credentials. So even though those credentials may be stored encrypted on the database, in order to log into the site, they need to be decrypted. And the machine that handles this is the greatest security risk in that system. Those screens, or those devices that are plugged into those screens, tend to be in high foot traffic areas. So a bad actor could easily physically access the device, copy some data, maybe even just steal the device and take what's on it. As I mentioned, to enable this feature, you need to have some JavaScript. Now, all browsers have built-in JavaScript injection protection, which needs to be deliberately disabled in settings. That means that now the whole browser is open to attack. Depending on the device used, there may also be other software running on it that could inspect and sent and received information. If it's a lower end device, we tend to see the end of life on consumer hardware being quite short, maybe even just a couple of years. And that means that after a certain period of time, there'll be no more security patches available for that device. Likewise, they very rarely run dedicated antivirus software, and they're not usually well considered when it comes to firewalls and the general IT maintenance plan. They're often a little bit forgotten about. The secure display of dashboards has been our most requested feature since we started supporting URLs back in 2016. So this has been a long time coming, and we've put in a lot of thought. So it's with great pleasure today that I launched ScreenCloud Dashboards, a fundamentally different approach to data dashboard security with digital signage. So let's dive into the principles of how we've built this product. Firstly, your credentials are never exposed to the screen device, which we identified as the biggest threat. Those credentials are stored encrypted, as you would expect, and we use a unique key, an IAM access management role, to allow access to it just against your account. The decrypted value is only accessible to dedicated private servers in the AWS cloud. They run no other applications but this, and they are automatically deleted and rebuilt from a clean template, nice and regularly, so that it ensures that it's always patched, always safe and up to date. No script engine needs to be enabled in the screen device's browser, meaning all of your digital signage content remains safe as it's used to publish to the screen. All right, that sounds great. Should we take a look and see how we've built this? Here's a short video. So introducing ScreenCloud Dashboards and how you set that up in Studio. You navigate to Dashboards and create new dashboard. Now, first up, you need to install a Chrome browser extension, and this is going to enable us to record the login steps for your dashboard. Only the administrator setting up a dashboard needs to do this. Once you've installed that and you go back to Studio, we then need to enable it to run in incognito mode. This means that any existing cookies or browser sessions are ignored so that we're getting a nice clean recording. All right, that's done. Let's go and record a dashboard. So you start by putting in the URL of the login page and click go. It pops up that incognito window and you start by putting in your credentials here. As you can see on the left-hand side, each step as you navigate through is recorded with clicks. And when you're finally ready with the dashboard, you're going to hit finish journey. So you've now recorded your journey, give it a name, and then go and save it. And then we preview it. So now it's going to spin up a server in the background. That typically takes 90 seconds. And then you see your dashboard there, loud and proud. And up on the screen, there it is. And it refreshes every few seconds. So it's really as live. Right, that looks very easy. There's 2 years of work in a nutshell. Let's go in and look at a little bit more about how this works. Okay, so you've got your digital signage CMS, that's ScreenCloud Studio, and a database which is storing those steps. That's all happening up into your normal Studio database account up in the AWS cloud, either in the USA or in the EU. We also have a separated identity management service. So the red parts are the ones that handle credentials. And as I mentioned earlier, there is a combination of encryption keys and using AWS's secrets manager to store your login details securely. That pushes through to an identity service, which then is called with the database actions. We spin up that server, so that dedicated temporary server in the cloud. It takes those instructions, launches a Chrome browser, and then behaves like a user would. So it logs in, finds those dashboards. We then take a screenshot of that dashboard, and that is pushed out to S3. So we store one single static image of the dashboard, and any history is deleted. So as soon as that file is updated, we delete old history, so we don't see anything like that in the future. Okay, so that's securely stored up in the cloud, and then using URL signing, that is pushed down to the device where there is a cache limit of just 24 hours on the single image. And that can be pushed to 1 device, 50 devices, 100 devices. It really doesn't matter. But as you can see on the screen device, all it's doing is accepting an image and nothing else. So this is really why we've engineered this to be as secure as possible. Okay, so as you can see from the recorder, we've built it to be as flexible as we can, but this is a new product. And so at launch, we have fully tested it on the following browsers. So we've got Chart.io, SignalFX, Trello, Datadog, Grafana, Tableau, Looker, and we also support Power BI. Although I should just add, Power BI is done in a slightly different way using the Power BI API. Now you're probably thinking, okay, that sounds great, but actually we use 2FA. Guess what? Good news. We have support for 2FA, not for SMS and email, but for the authenticator. And there's lots of documentation about how to enable that there. So although we're saying these are the dashboards we're supporting, we also know that it actually already works with loads and loads of other ones. There's more refinement to be done, but what we would encourage you to do is just to try it out and work with us. And our team is ever evolving in getting each of these steps. Obviously, as you know, every single system works slightly differently, but the recorder is there to be flexible. And ultimately, we want to be able to enable anything, not just dashboards, just any sites behind logins should be fine. And obviously, well, we're kind of all about screens being called ScreenCloud, but actually, since COVID, we have really upped our game in terms of how do we get this content to go and live beyond the screen. So you could push your dashboards and your other content out inside of our native Microsoft Teams app, which launched a few months ago, or you could actually embed this inside of your intranet, like Notion or Confluence, SharePoint, things like that. So this doesn't just have to be about screens. On our embedded product, we are launching, I think in about a month or two, the ability to actually make them dynamic. So you can click through and pause and check. So it won't just be a playlist of content as well. So that's another great way of getting these dashboards into other sources. Let's talk about some customers we've been working with. So Flagger Force is one of our customers and was a beta customer for the Dashboards product because they had a very specific content challenge they needed help on. So in their call center, they're using secure Cisco dashboards. Again, live behind a login they wanted to get up on a screen. But to the wider teams going out and facing the elements, as you can see here, they had weather outage dashboards for the work crews to be able to see before they started shifts. They asked loads of different vendors how to do this, and they found that because these were slightly unusual dashboards, that the other vendors were too limited in how they supported them. But by using ScreenCloud Dashboards, they could support virtually any source. So Kyle's given us a really nice quote here. Finding a partner to get content on displays securely and efficiently might seem like an easy task, but really it's not. ScreenCloud is unique in its passion to innovate in this area with a secure solution that's robust and easy to use for all levels of users. And that genuinely is exactly what we've tried to do here. And we are very passionate about that. I hope that's coming across. Another company, I can't name them exactly, a large e-commerce company in the US, created these things called command centers where we had many dashboards in the warehouse. Like Charles Schwab, they found a huge productivity kick. In fact, it made Charles Schwab's results look quite tame, really. So within 4 months of having the dashboards out, they were pushing out individual performance metrics. They doubled their productivity, and then a few months later had got that up to triple levels. Just people being more aware of what's going on and how they're performing. Right, so where does this fit into a wider concept? So one of the concepts we've been exploring at ScreenCloud over the last year is something we just simply call company TV. And we think that for internal facing screens, this is ultimately what this usually ends up becoming. It's a mixture of different types of content, from data dashboards, of course, but to people, news, updates, live events, and things like that. So this really fits into a much wider thing that we're exploring with customers. Our professional services team is doing a lot of this implementation work for customers, helping them in a phased approach. So Zig Ziglar once said that research indicates that people have 3 prime needs from their work. They want interesting work, recognition for doing a great job, and being let in on things that are going on inside of the company. Well, look, ScreenCloud can help with at least 2 of those things, and that's the company TV. So let's just take a look. Here we have a simple meeting a new member of the team who's joining, and then we're showing some dashboards about how things are performing, and then saying happy birthday or giving some praise to a member of the team, and then capturing moments from live events as well. So it's just a couple of slides just to show how we sort of use company TV internally. And it's this mix of content that really reflects the business back and sort of joins us all together as we're separated across the world and all those different teams. Just to give you a bit of flavor about the connected company, which is how we ultimately envisage our product helping companies. It's taking content from various sources, whether that be your static images or pulling from your social media, your internal drives, RSS, et cetera, augmenting that with these secure data dashboards so that you understand what's really happening inside of the business in those various departments. Again, getting involved with workplace discussion, either by embedding inside of things like Microsoft Teams or actually pulling content out of that. And then ultimately assisting with company events. We have ScreenCloud Broadcast now, which allows you to take Zoom or OBS streams and push them out to any of those screens. All of that runs through the ScreenCloud platform. We apply some logic and business rules towards that, and then we push it out ambiently, mostly, to shared screens, either in offices, customer-facing screens, meeting rooms, call centers, back office of warehouses where deskless workers, that's where they get their updates from, or embedded in those intranets. And then increasingly, we're also looking at how we do this in a personal mode, so a more active mode where you're getting caught up on your mobile, your home, your work PC, or your home smart TV. So there's some more innovation to be done around that, but that's kind of where we see the vision for this as a wider piece. So why now? Well, Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, said it very eloquently, really, in the last few weeks, that what we have witnessed over the past year is the dawn of a second wave of digital transformation, sweeping every country, every company and every industry, well, and every country too. With what we've been through in the last year, every business is reassessing how they modernize, how they work in the sort of overused phrase, the new normal, this mix of not everyone always being in the office, some people working from home. Communicating through that challenge is going to be even harder, and communication in businesses was always one of the biggest problems. ScreenCloud is here to help you achieve that, and this is really a part of the mission that we're on. So you've heard a lot about secure dashboards, ScreenCloud dashboards today, and I'm sure you want to get started with it. Well, there are several ways in which you can do this. Firstly, if you're not already a ScreenCloud customer or you just want a more in-depth demo than what I've done today, you can request that by going to screencloud.com/dashboards. There's a white paper there, and you can just click and request a demo, and one of our reps will be super happy to do that for you. If you're already in trial, or you already have an account and we'd like to just try this feature out for a couple of weeks, then we would love for you to do that. So just navigate to the Dashboards tab inside of Studio, and then you'll see a button there, if you don't have it enabled, to request a free trial. We'll help you get set up, so walk you through those steps if you need it, answer any questions, and that's all good. If you're like, here's my money, take it now, no problem. ScreenCloud Dashboards is enabled in several of our packages. So Microsoft Power BI, because it really works through the API slightly differently to the other ones, is included in our Teams package. For full access to ScreenCloud Dashboards, you need to be on our business package. And again, please talk to our sales reps or your account managers with more about that. It's not just dashboards you get in that package. You get loads of other things like broadcast and embeddable. So there's loads of things you can do there. Cool. All right. Well, that's the end of my talk. I hope that's been useful. We're going to switch over now to a live Q&A with myself and Michael Martin, our Director of Engineering Apps in Belfast. If you want to submit any more of those questions, just go to slido.com and look for the hashtag SCDS, or use this QR code that will take you straight there. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and we look forward to answering any of your questions on this super exciting product.